is it worth it? Am I in a job that doesn't love me back?
All right. What's up, lifers, and welcome to the Daily Stand-Up with Lifetime Value. We are so happy to be here. We're going to give you another fresh idea to start your day about customer success. JP, do you want to say hi?
What's up, people?
Rob, do you want to say hi?
What's up, lifers?
And Bob, do you want to say hi?
I do want to say hi. Hi, lifers. It's good to be here.
Bob, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Bob Mathers. I'm a revenue coach. So I work with CS leaders and founders helping to grow from, 5 million to 50 million and 50 million and above. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here to share what's on my mind.
Awesome. So you already know the script. So why don't you tell us? What are you thinking about?
All right. So there's a little bit of context here that I think is really important. 7 days ago, I was sitting with my family in a restaurant, my wife and two sons, and my younger son wasn't feeling so well. He was sick. He had some numbness in his extremities. We ended up rushing him to a hospital, and 12 hours later, he had emergency brain surgery to remove a mass on his brain. Now, I'm not going to get into, I know that's a kind of a heavy way to start a conversation. So believe me, it's, we're going to bring it home here. The point is that you've caught me at a moment here, right? For the last 7 days, I've been reflecting on the fragility of life and how I want to spend my last 30 or 40 years, et cetera. And so I've been reflecting on that, but I've also been bringing that back to a lot of conversations I've been having with people in CS. And I know it's been a really tough couple of years, right? There's people out there that have been out of work for a while. There's people that are kind of living quarter to quarter that have had friends and colleagues lose their jobs while somehow they've still been standing. So they're under this constant kind of threat of being in that position themselves. And this goes for individual contributors, CS leaders. And I guess given the week that I've had, I hope that people are taking the opportunity to ask themselves, is it worth it? Am I in a job that doesn't love me back? Because what nobody seems to tell you is that if you're out of work, for example, with CSM, and I've been there, let me just share a quick story. I've been laid off as a sales leader, and I've been laid off as a CS leader. And I remember I was in my early 30s the first time it happened. Two young kids at home, sitting with my BlackBerry at the time in my car in the parking lot after having just been escorted out of the building by HR. For anybody who's been through it, they know what that feels like. And I'm sitting there and I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm alone. And so I know that feeling. And I remember sitting there going, I'm going to prove them all wrong. I'm going to go get another job, and I'm going to prove that this was a mistake, and I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to show them, because that's just a very human kind of reaction to it all. Right. And I talk to people all the time, and they're in that situation. And so I just hope that people are taking some time to reflect on whether it's worth it, because this is going to happen to you. CS is undergoing a lot of change. It's not dead. I don't care what, the clickbait out there, like it's just undergoing a bit of a change here. Damn, if you haven't been laid off, it's just a matter of time. And if you've been out of work 6 to 8 months and you're trying to find a job, you're going to find another job. And you know what? In 2 years, it could happen again. And that's what you're saying yes to. You're saying you're going to spend almost as much time looking for a job and onboarding new jobs as you are in that pocket where you're confident and you're delivering value. And there's just not enough spots for everybody out there looking right now. So I don't know. That's kind of my call to action as I've reflected on it. Is I hope people are taking the opportunity to decide whether they're up for it and whether they really want to do this. Because I know you just want to get back in the game, and I know you're getting pulled in there, but just try to take some time to figure out whether it's worth it.
So noted. That was definitely all directed at me because I am a recent job seeker. I recently wrote a screed on the pending death of customer success. And I've also written quite a bit about the only person that cares as much about you is you. And companies don't give a shit about you. You're a widget, and it doesn't even matter if you're bringing massive value. They could decide tomorrow that they just don't give a shit about you anymore. and that's specifically employment in America. So I'll take that one on the chin, and I'll let the guys add their commentary if they'd like.
I have some commentary. First of all, I think that was as liberating as it was disappointing, or as disappointing as it was liberating. I mean, so I think that for me, being laid off was one of the most liberating things that I could have asked for. I wouldn't be on my current path, and this is the happiest I've ever been in my work, if it weren't for the fact that the last company I was at downsized and said, Rod, we got to move you back to being a consultant. It was something that needed to happen, and I'm glad the circumstances called for it. Do I agree that companies don't give a shit about you? Well, I can't say that as a universal norm. I think there are some companies that don't. And I think it's kind of ironic that, we in customer success, we're in the business of proving ROI on everything, and yet we struggle to prove ROI on our own selves, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I think there's the challenges that the customer success world have seen have really matured this thing that we're doing, customer success, in a way that I was waiting for years, honestly. So even though it's not ideal that a lot of us have gone through this type of thing, I do think there's a lot that's really come of it that's positive.
Yeah, I love that, Rob. You're right. And but I've never talked to anybody that's been through it that hasn't looked back with a little bit of distance and said, yeah, that was the best thing to happen to me. But man, it's hard to see it when you're in the middle of it.
I'm only getting there now, Bob.
Right.
And it's been about 6 months for me. JP, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I appreciate the candor with which you shared, Bob. It was really great, really, really human, right? Really, really brought that element to the front. And I know that one of our traits as humans is resiliency and adaptability. Those two things that really go hand in hand. And I feel like my own personal journey, for sure, I've been able to definitely reflect with a lot of gratitude from places where I've been let go, because I've always seen each place as a learning stop for me. And I've always sort of believed that in the grander scheme of things, as long as my character and my heart are in the right place and I'm consistently on that path, that
Amen.
The other things will sort of work themselves out. Right. I feel like right now I'm at a place in terms of literally in my career and where I work, where I feel like I've been able to find something that really works for me, but I also don't take it for granted. And I think that that's part of the message you're sharing, is not to take things for granted. That's definitely where I am. I don't take having a position for granted. I don't take finding a job that brings me a lot of fulfillment for granted. Yet at the same time, I also understand the reality of where things are, and that you could get let go any minute due to unforeseen circumstances.
I have 2 points. First of all, Bob, what's the name of your son and how is he doing?
His name's Will. Yeah, he's eating like a horse. Looks like he's going to be fine. So, yeah, the darkness of it is over. So, yeah, thanks for asking.
Okay, knock on wood. I'm pulling for Will. That's got to be the scariest thing. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine talking about it after it happens, let alone experiencing the situation in the first place. So, yeah, thanks again. Also, unrelated, but I want to thank Rob for calling in from the headset he must have gotten at the very first tech support job he's ever had. Style
it's good, right?
Points, my friend.
You know what happened?
We get just the smallest amount of background noise too, like you did when you call in to AT&T to try and argue your bill. I can hear a little bit of the conversations. I don't know quite what's going on, but I know you're not alone.
I'm not alone.
Right.
That's our time, Bob. I want to thank you again for coming on the show, sharing your time, sharing your expertise. It's been a pleasure. We hope to have you back, Bob.
Anytime, guys. I really love what you're doing here. I appreciate you having me on. Anytime. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye, guys.
You've been listening to The Daily Stand-Up by Lifetime Value. Please note that the views expressed in these conversations are attributed only to those individuals on this recording and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of their respective employers. For all inquiries, please reach out via email to dylan@lifetimevaluemedia.com. Find us on YouTube at Lifetime Value, and find us on the socials at Lifetime Value Media. Until next time.
Hey folks, it's Dylan here. Thank you for tuning in as always. Now I've got a favor to ask of you. If you've made it this far, hopefully it means you like what we're doing with our program. So I'm asking you to please give this a like and a follow or a subscribe, and leave a comment too. Your likes and your follows and your subscriptions, they allow us to keep doing what we're doing and reach a larger audience. Your comments help us make sure that we're making the best content for you. Best of all, it's free besides a few moments of your time. Thank you again for following along, and we'll see you next time.